Today we are going to talk about Story Grammar Marker, or our Brady tool. We use this to do a retell of a narrative story or to develop a plot for our own writing. Each piece of our Brady represents a different story element. These story elements help us with our retell to make sure we include all important pieces. The first story element that we see is our character. This is the green puff with the googly eyes. Our character is who the story is about. This might be an animal, a person, or some other type of creature. The next part that we want to include in our retell is the setting. This is shown by a star because back in the day, sailors used to use stars to tell what time of day it was and where they were going. Those are the two components that we need to include when we are doing our retell for our setting: where the story takes place and when the story takes place. The next part on our Brady is the kickoff. This tells the listener that our story is starting, kind of like how a kickoff in a football game tells us that the game is starting. We might use keywords like all of a sudden or one day to signal to the listener that this is the beginning of our story. The next part that we will have in our retell is our internal response, or our feeling or emotion. This is how the character is feeling on the inside because of what happened. A lot of times at the beginning of a story, a narrative story, we will have a problem. With that problem, often there are negative feelings or bad feelings that the character might be having. They might feel worried, nervous, scared, confused, or something of that sort. Next, the character will develop a plan. He or she will need to find a way to solve their problem. The plan should be directly related to our kickoff. So for example, if Joey does not want to go to school today because he's feeling sad or upset, his plan might be to find a way to trick mom into thinking he is sick. Next part on our Brady are the action steps or attempts. This is when the character tries to solve their problem and implement or carry out their plan. When we're listing our different steps in our plan or our action steps, we should make sure that we're using words like first, second, next, then, finally. Our next story element is the conclusion or ending. This is the direct consequence, or what happens because of all of the steps that the character took to try to solve their problem. It looks like a bow because we call it our tie-up. It's how does the story end? Last, we have a feeling. At the end, usually a character is feeling better. They may have solved their problem. They might feel happy, excited, content. These are all the feelings that wrap up our story.